Well, we made it back. Excited to be with you this afternoon. This is my first actual live StreamYard, not my first actual live event. Of course, many of you have seen me go live through different streams and different platforms, but today I'm using a tool called StreamYard, and I'm excited about it as it gives me a lot of options to do some different things. And today I'm going to share some information with you. This is my Wednesday Wisdom segment, and I've been doing this for quite a while. You can find those Wednesday Wisdoms on my YouTube page, or you can follow me on my Facebook page, and you can find those Wednesday Wisdoms in a number of places. But basically, I just find great topics, talk about them, tell how I've utilized that specific subject matter in my journey and how it's helped me grow and become who I am today. And if you're interested in learning more about me, you can go to my website. You can go to www.palmettoleadership.com, and you can find out more information about my journey and who I am. But today I want to share with you about accountability. And I share that with you because accountability is one of those things that I struggled with for a good bit of my journey. It wasn't until I joined the military, actually, it was even later than my joining the military, that I found out what accountability was truly about. I spent a number of years serving and doing different things, and I finally landed as a recruiter with the South Carolina Air National Guard. It is then that I really learned the power of accountability. And while I struggled personally with accountability, the good news is that I had a team of folks around me that helped me on that journey to help me be more accountable in the things that I needed to do to be successful in that career. And while I don't want to brag on myself, but I think I was successful in that journey. I ended up as the chief of recruiting operations for the entire Air National Guard as my final assignment in working in Washington, D.C. So let's talk about accountability for a minute. So if I could share some things with you today that would help you on your journey to be more accountable, would that be something you'd be interested in? Well, if you're like me, I'm sure it is. So let's begin. Let's stop beating around the bush and let's go forward with what I have to share today. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to be honest with ourselves. I like to say I have to be brutally honest with myself about the fact that accountability is something, or was something, that I struggle with. And I say was, but even today, there are times when I struggle with accountability. But when we're honest with ourselves, when we tell ourselves the truth, when we're transparent with ourselves, then we can work on resolving the problem that we're dealing with, whether it's accountability or some other problem that we have that we need to work on. Actually admitting it, facing it, and doing things we know we need to do to get beyond it, then we can become better at whatever it is. For me, accountability is one of those things. And I have a list of books over here on productivity. I've read so many books about how to get things done, but still sometimes I get distracted. So over my years, there's some things I've done to help me in that area of accountability, to avoid the distractions, to do the things I know I need to do to get the task done. And I think that's the bottom line. What do I have to do to help me do what I need to do to reach the goal or complete the task that is in front of me? So let's share a few things. Let me begin by saying that we have to commit to a mindset of, yes, I can do it. So a lot of us deal with, it's just not something I want to do, or it's not something I can do. So our mindset gets in our way. And it's interesting that our mindsets get in our way for a lot of different reasons. It's not just accountability. Our minds control everything we do. Our thoughts, our beliefs direct our actions. I there's a great saying by a great man that says, what we think we are, what we think we do. And if you think about that, you think about your mindset, and I've got a new book that I'm reading right now that's talking about mindset and not believing all that minutia that's in our minds, but believing that we can do what we need to do. So it begins with a mindset of, hey, I can get this done. And if you believe that you can get it done, then that's the first step of the journey. So think about that. Where's your mindset? What are you thinking about? How is your thinking holding you back from doing what you need to do? How is your thinking holding you back from doing what you need to do? All right, the second thing here that I want us to talk about is don't overcommit. So I'm a high D in the personality analysis, the DISC personality traits. And so sometimes it's hard for me to say no. And what I do is I overcommit. I'll say, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. And then all of a sudden, I can't get anything done. And so what I had to do is I had to learn to prioritize everything in my journey. And sometimes that means saying no to somebody about doing something. And so in one of the books that I've recently read by John Maxwell, he talks about the Pareto Principle. And I think everybody's heard about the Pareto Principle, the 80-20 rule, that, if you have a list of 10 things that you need to get done, you should focus on 20% of those 10 things. And in that process, you should use about 80% of your energy to accomplish those. Now, think about that for a moment. If you took 80% of your time and you put it towards 20% of the activities that you have to get done, those top 2-3 priorities, can you see where it would increase your accountability? It would certainly increase your amount of time spent on working on those specific things that you want to accomplish. Okay, so here's the hard part. Which ones should I choose? Well, that's something you have to really focus on. What are the real priorities on your journey? What is it that really makes a difference in your process to reaching the level of success in your journey? You have to choose. And so I have a list. In fact, I have unfortunately, here it is. I lied. I have a journal where I have my top 10 list of my priorities for this year. And at the top of the list, I have 2 that are underlined and highlighted in yellow. And those 2 things are the ones that I'm focusing on most of the time. Do I work on the others? Yes, but I spend the majority of my time focusing on those specific goals and working on those 2 goals to make sure that I accomplish them. So one of those goals, I'll tell you right now, is to do a seminar, a Zoominar, or whatever you want to call it. I want to do 1 Zoominar a month. And right now I am on track. I have done one in January. I've done one in February. I've got one scheduled in March. You'll be able to find that on my webpage, the calendar of events there. You'll be able to see all of the things that I have scheduled. But that's one of my goals, is to do 12 seminars this year. And the only way that's going to happen is if I focus on what they are, getting the material ready, doing all the things I need to do to reach that goal. So identifying that priority has helped me really focus and hone in on the things that I need to do. So the next thing we need to do is create a tracking system. When I was in recruiting, we sort of had a built-in tracking system. They forced us. They literally forced us to use our day planners. And today, there is no excuse for us not to track everything that we do. Our phones allow us, our iPads, our desktop computers, our laptop computers. There's so much technology out there today that there's no reason that we can't track everything that we do. That's if you're serious about getting it done. Now, if you're not, then it doesn't matter how much you track. You're just not going to do it. But tracking your progress is so important. What do you have on your list? What do you need to refocus on? What do you need to readjust? What do you need to take off? What do you need to add? But if you don't have that list, then you don't know what you need to do. So create a list. Create a list of the things that you really want to accomplish. And if you do that, it's going to help you focus on what you need to really be accountable on. The next thing that we need to do is tell other people. You know, I'm very fortunate because I work with a couple of teams and we talk about goals and we talk about the things that we want to accomplish and the things that we want to do. So everybody out there is aware that Jim Hatchell wants to do certain things this year, especially the one about doing the seminars or the Zoominars every month. And then from there, people kind of help me hold myself accountable because like I told you in the very beginning, it's hard for me personally to hold myself accountable. But when I got a group of folks around me that are there with me, it makes a big difference. But I recommend that you tell other people, or here's another great idea. Find someone that you can sit down with and be an accountability partner with you and with them so that the two of you can hold each other accountable. If you do that, it makes a big difference in your journey to being more accountable. There are also things that we should listen for. There are clues out there that help us on this journey to be accountable. And it's those clues that we hear in our back of our mind, those things that say, oh, are you really capable of doing that? And if you're hearing those voices in the back of your mind, you need to stop and think a minute. Okay, why has that happened? Why am I listening to those voices? You know, you can look at your list and see what you're doing. You can look at your list and see what you're not doing. Those are clues to help you on this pathway that you're on, this journey to be successful, this journey to be more accountable. If you want to be successful, if you want to be at the top of your game, if you want to be the best in your industry, then we really have to be more accountable to ourselves and to those that we serve. Accountability is so, so important. Here's another thing that I do. I reflect frequently at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year. What have I done? What things have I accomplished? What have I not accomplished? What could I have done differently to get there? Reflect on where you are. Reflect on what you're doing. Reflect on what you need to do. And if you're doing that regularly, I mean, if you're doing it at the end of the day, what could I have done better today? What could I have done better this week? What could I have done better this month? What things did I not accomplish that I really needed to focus on? How can I bring that back up to speed? So reflecting and going back and looking at what you really, really know you need to do helps you reconnect and recommit to the goals that you established early on. And then the last one is this: measure your progress. You know, they say that what gets measured gets done. And if you're not measuring what you're doing, if you're not measuring your success, then how do you know that you're moving forward on your journey? And this is one that I really, really think is so important. You can take just about everything that you do, and if you're measuring it, then it's important. Then you're going to focus on it and you're going to do the things that you need to do to be successful in your journey to become more accountable. So if you're looking for accountability partners, I'm right here for you. I'll be happy to talk with you and serve with you and do whatever it is. But that's what we're here in this group for, is to help each other grow and become our best versions. And accountability is one of the first steps that we need to take. So I hope that what you heard today was of value to you. I hope this stream went through. It appears to me that it's going fine, but I'll find out in a minute. If you have friends or family that you think could utilize this information in some way, feel free to share it, invite them to the group. And I look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday as I share more on Wednesday Wisdom. This is Jim saying have a great afternoon.